Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Hey, folks, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the show. The returning Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text, 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Par-Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill CDJR and the Thornhill Motor Mile. It's time to make this the summer of Ram at the all-new Thornhill Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Visit them at the Fountain Place Model Logan or at thornhillcdjr.com. Hope everybody had a great weekend. A little rain on your drive in this morning. I encountered some a couple of hours ago. We're back at it once again, and now that school is back in session, at least here in Kanawha County, can we start thinking about fall yet, right? Well, the folks at Charleston Urban Works are. The executive director, Ric Cavender, is going to join us a little bit later on the show to talk about October West. There's some new polling info out that doesn't look good for former President Trump in his matchup with Vice President Kamala Harris. Of course, the DNC gets underway today. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. And what could be a very interesting Charleston City Council meeting tonight as well. Your calls and texts are always welcome to Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. Phone calls to the show are a service of Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly on Spring Street. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony Taylor, Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertaylor.com. I want to welcome to the show from the State Republican Party, Tony Hodge. Tony is not really here in his role with the state party, although I'm going to start by asking him some questions about some state party business. Tony, then Tony and I are going to go off into a totally different direction this morning. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. It's good to be back on. It's been a little while, but I'm kind of lamenting the end of summer. So, school's getting back started, it's a good time of year. But, man, I love summertime. I love family vacation, doing all the things we do.
Must be rough because you're originally from Nicholas County, right?
I am, originally, yes.
And, I mean, it snows there in June, right?
Yeah, it does get a lot of snow. But with the short summers up in that area, they pack it in hard over there because, you got the lake and the rock climbing and all the parks up there. So that's a fun area to be in. But we're down here now in Putnam County, which, by the way, driving in this morning, you talked about a little bit of rain. I also noticed driving into the city that our Roads to Prosperity project is almost complete. So hopefully we can get over here to Charleston without all those backups. And
it's actually moving ahead of schedule. They say it's by October because we've – not good news for the farmers. We've had basically no rain, this summer in West Virginia, but it has allowed them to speed things up a little bit, no pun intended. So it does look like it's going to be open completely 6 lanes by some point late October.
Yeah, that'll be the first time. I moved to Putnam County a little over 20 years ago. It'll be the first time ever that we've had a full completed 6-lane highway from out that way to downtown Charleston. So it's going to be really nice.
Before we get into the discussion of why I wanted to have you here, of course, the big news is that the Democratic National Convention is kicking off here soon in Chicago. I'm sure you and the state GOP will be watching with interest. I may turn it on from time to time. I mean, I've got better things to do than watch a bunch of Democrats get on TV and talk about sterilization and abortion. So, but, that's kind of what they've made this campaign about. We've all seen the reports this weekend, or those of us who've paid attention have seen the reports this weekend that they've set up centers outside of the DNC in Chicago to offer sterilization to men and abortion to women, which is for free. And I just think it's just one of the adjectives we've heard this election cycle is weird. And that's how I would describe that. It's weird and it's sad. It's unfortunate.
But the Democratic Party has turned into something that John F. Kennedy and people of that generation just would not understand or get, really. In a time when Bill Clinton said that abortion should be safe, legal, and rare, to where now the Democratic Party is saying abortion should be shouted from the rooftop, shout your abortion, let's sterilize all the men. It's a culture of sterilization and death. And I think ultimately the majority of American people are going to look at that and frown upon it. Well,
I watched a lot of the news shows yesterday, and they were talking about Kamala Harris. And, one of the things is, Tony, is this is going to come down to the economy and the border. Those are two of the major things. Now, you mentioned abortion. That's in there, too. But the economy and abortion, and there's a lot of questions people have on Vice President Harris. Now, I don't know exactly how much control of the economy that you have as a vice president. I'm not really sure what a vice president does, although she was the border czar, so to speak, and it's a mess.
Well, she, the vice president does have. I mean, she's part of the administration.
Sure,
she is in office.
Yeah.
She is a public office holder. She's at the second place of our entire hierarchy in our country. So she does have a say. But I think you're right. I think the economy and the border are things that the normal American is really concerned about. I mean, when I just talk anecdotally to friends and family, it's the economy, the price of food. And I think it's funny, this whole price gouging. She wants to come up against this price gouging. What she says, there's price gouging out here in the country on food. She wants to come up with a Soviet plan to be able to curtail that. This was tried back. I wasn't alive, but during the Nixon administration, I've read through history that it was tried back then, and it was a disastrous failure. What it ended up doing to the economy was it created food shortages, bread lines. When you take out those free market principles, you take incentive away from market suppliers on the grocery side to supply their product, and you end up with empty shelves. So I don't know. The Harris campaign, they seem to be very short on any kind of actual policy. There's nothing out there. In fact, let me tell you this little fact. This is interesting. So the 2024 Democratic Party platform, which they're going to talk about right here at the DNC in Chicago, it actually has Biden's name all throughout it. The whole thing is connected to the Biden-Harris administration, which I think is quite embarrassing because the Harris people, they don't even have enough policy to cobble together a particular platform. And I think their DNC rules say that they can't make any changes ahead of this. So after they pulled the coup on Biden to get him out of office, now they have a platform that's rather embarrassing that refers everything back to Biden. So really, they're in disarray. But thankfully, on their side, they have the national media, the left-leaning media on the national scale that kind of bail them out and hide all these things. And we're out here as Republican Party leaders. We want to expose all these contradictions and the disarray that's actually going on behind the scenes in the Democratic Party.
You referred to it as a coup. What did you think about President Biden stepping aside? Because I will contend that I don't think it was his choice. Because I think if you listen to the speeches, the ones that you can understand, leading up to this, him stepping aside, he was kind of his heels were kind of dug in, and then he stepped aside. And a lot of people say, well, there was pressure put on him. Other Pelosi and others came out. What did you think about the decision to replace?
Yeah, I agree with your assessment. I think that he was kind of dug in. I mean, think about it from his perspective. I mean, you made it to the pinnacle. You made it to the very top. I mean, there's only been 40-some presidents of the United States, most powerful person in the world, and you became one of them. And you have the opportunity to run for re-election, and they start to push you aside and say, you can't. It has to be embarrassing. It really does. I know he probably as a person doesn't want to show it, but it's embarrassing, and that'll always be in history. That'll be part of his history and his legacy. That'll be in the history books of the Democratic Party that they push their own leader out. So, but I do agree with you. I think that the pressure was so heavy that they basically told him, look, you either go out a loser or go out on your own terms. Those, I think, were the options given to him, and he really had no choice. I mean, you had the most powerful people in the Democratic Party putting pressure, and he's out now. Obviously, I mean, he's been a terrible president. Inflation is the number one thing that I think of when I think of Joe Biden, and so he did have to go. But the way that he went it's very shocking. I'm still shocked that they were able to pull this coup off, but they did. And, but we've had a lot of shocking moments in American history, especially in recent years. So, man, it's piling up.
I've got the TV on in the studio here, and they're showing this was actually yesterday. The protesters descended upon the DNC in Chicago. It is worth noting, Tony, that not everyone on the left or that part of the Democratic Party were thrilled with the whole thing went down with Biden. And they're not thrilled with a lot of other things. And they're expected to be widespread protests, and as you're already seeing in the streets of Chicago. And something that I talked to you about before the show that's not really been reported on a whole lot is that there are about 30 or so delegates to the DNC that are uncommitted to Vice President Kamala Harris, mainly because of her stance on Israel. That could be somewhat problematic, but I'm going to give you a break. We're not going to talk about that anymore because I have you here for another reason. I will remind you that the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is presented by General Hardware of Winfield and Milton and General Lumber of Winfield. For all projects, big and small, shop locally. Visit generalhardwarewv.com. All right, so you are, of course, affiliated with the state Republican Party, but you recently wrote an op-ed which appeared in the Gazette Mail Saturday, August the 10th. And this had nothing to do with your role in the state GOP. This was just Tony Hodge. I referred to you last week, just Tony Hodge, the dude, in this August 10th editorial. And it was entitled Family Matters. And in it, Tony, you talked about the American family, or in some cases, the lack of it. Why is this such an important topic for you?
Well, it's important to me because one of the lines that I put about halfway through the op-ed that I sent into the Gazette Mail was that the nuclear family, and what I mean by that is a family of a mother and a father married in a home and raising children together. That's what I mean by the nuclear family. I believe, and the evidence will show, the evidence is all around. I can even cite the statistics and the studies, but the evidence shows that the nuclear family is the bedrock of a stable society. And right now in America in 2024, I see instability all around us. I mean, we just kind of alluded to that. There's instability in our economy. There's instability in our politics. There's instability in our schools. There's instability in law. There's instability in all sorts of areas. And I'll hear commentators say often, "Well, we got to do this. We got to throw money this way or throw money that way, or we need this political fix or this political fix." And when you trace all these problems back, you keep taking step back and step back and step back. I think it comes down to strong families being dismantled over the last 40 to 50 years. And now we live in a culture that absolutely disvalues family. Just like I was talking about with the DNC and some of the things they're doing outside that building up there is just really weird. It's anti-family. And I think it's very unfortunate for our young people. I read a report on the West Virginia Metro News website just this morning. I read it where they interviewed the two teacher union leaders here in West Virginia, Dale Lee and Fred Albert, and they talked about all the suspensions that happened in school last year. I guess there was several thousand, like tens of thousands, maybe suspensions that happened in West Virginia public schools. And, I was thinking about, well, what's the cause for that? And I thought about the environment that children come out of, broken homes or homes with no parents or parents who don't pay attention or single parents or all these issues. And I just think that a lot of the instability that we see arises out of that.
How do you personally define the family unit, Tony?
Well, as I said, I think that the nuclear family, the nuclear family is the smallest the smallest piece of society, right? It's the most close-knit piece, and what I mean by that is the family that lives in one home, one mother, one father. Okay, not two mothers, not two fathers, because that's actually impossible. People can play house, but in real house, you have one mother, you have one father, living together, loving each other, committed to one another, committed to God, and raising children together. That's what I mean by the family. And, of course, there's extended family and things like that. But that family that I just described, that's the most close-knit unit that we have in society. And that's kind of what I talked about in the op-ed. I talked about a TV show from the 1990s. It was actually Family Matters. A lot of people will remember fondly Steve Urkel and all of his antics. But if you go back and watch some of those shows, they really had a different message. And this was just in the 90s. This wasn't like, an eternity ago.
This is not Ozzie and Harriet. I mean, this was, 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's not that long ago. And you watch these shows and the messaging coming out of them is, honestly, it's so really positive and good. I sit down and watch it with my family, and my children have never seen positive messaging like that on television until they go back and watch these old shows, and they're like, wow, this is different. They recognize that. Well, I grew up with it. But anyway, we go back and we watch these episodes, and there was this one particular episode where Steve and Laura were in high school, and the teacher began to teach about society and how it's built. And the teacher teaches the students right out loud on TV. She says that countries are made up of cities, and cities are made up of smaller units called neighborhoods, and neighborhoods are made up of even smaller units called the family. And then she says, traditionally, the foundation of each family is marriage.
Right. Now,
she says that so matter-of-factly. She says it as if this is normal. This is a normal thing. You don't hear things like that today. Today, anything family-oriented is kind of looked down upon. We have all sorts of different definitions for family now, which just are not true. And I really think that in order to get stability back into society, we need to go back to what Ronald Reagan said. He said that greatness comes from families eating around the dinner table. It's something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but he's just talking about getting back to family.
How do we do that, though? Well, I'll tell you, that's a big, that's a broad question,
sure.
And it's going to take a little time. Plus,
sure.
I got a ton of text to get to too.
Oh, good.
When I have you, Pushkin, and Greg Thomas on the show, you guys are far and away the leader in the text that I get to the show. You and Pushkin just right there together.
Okay, yeah, I have to be in third place. I don't think I get as high as Mike and Greg, but anyway.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back with more with Tony Hodge. It's 9:23. In the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations and fostering a sense of belonging. Talking about Special Olympics, a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington, stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Parents of high school juniors and seniors, discover the Wynn Academy at Bridge Valley Community and Technical College. This unique charter school offers an accelerated program for students passionate about nursing or advanced manufacturing. Students can start college courses in their junior year, graduating high school with their first year of college completed, all for free. With hands-on experience and personalized attention, students are just 1 year away from finishing their college degree after high school. Save on college costs and get a head start at the Wynn Academy at Bridge Valley.
Jarrett Construction has celebrated its 25th year in business, proudly serving the West Virginia community. They extend heartfelt thanks to their clients for their trust and support over the years. From schools and hospitals to car dealerships and apartments, Jarrett Construction has been dedicated to building quality projects that make a difference. Their commitment to excellence in the community remains unwavering. For all your construction needs, choose Jarrett Construction, where your vision becomes their mission. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Thank you for making their 25 years successful and impactful. Hey, it's Dave Allen for Parmar Stores. Our lives are all hectic. That goes without saying. It also goes without saying we're always looking for ways to make our lives just a little bit easier. That's where your local Parmar store comes in. From gas to groceries and snacks to a quick soda or that morning cup of coffee you need to keep you going, Parmar's got it. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Red, white, and vroom! Gear up for incredible savings at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and right now at Thornhill, you can drive home a new 2024 Ford Escape with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months, plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Shop online anytime at thornhillford.net or visit us on US 119 in Chapmanville. Discover why Thornhill Ford Lincoln is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals and exceptional service on the road to total savings. This qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
9:26, Dave Allen Show and 580 Live, brought to you by Hudson's Pizza. This month, it's your favorite Hudson's. Get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie, only $23.99. Tony Hodge is with us. We're talking about families. Text says, your guest is definitely entitled to his opinion, but I'm also entitled to mine and have turned off the radio. Well, you know, Tony, thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Sorry, your ratings will go down by 1.
Your guest this morning makes me nauseous. Such BS. BS, Tony.
I don't understand. I mean, but you know what? That goes back to what I was just saying. People I don't know who these people are. I have no idea. But there are people in our society who hate the family.
Text says, Dave, Biden-Harris's policies over the past 3.5 years have been complete failure, i.e. border economy. Trump's policies are proven best for our country. Common sense, Dave, says a texter. Texter says, so glad I left a party years ago that now tells you to loudly and proudly shout the fact that you can tear an unborn child apart limb to limb. Yet as a complete 2-year-old meltdown if it's called the wrong pronoun. The Democratic Party we knew is gone, says a texter.
That's right.
I want to throw this out here, Fred. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. No pun intended before you say anything. I kind of alluded to Ozzie and Harriet earlier, the beaver, the cleavers. You can lead it whatever family you want to from sitcoms. The American family, 2 whatever kids, husband, wife. Some would say, Tony, as some of the texters I'll try to get to, that it's not the reality anymore. And sometimes an American family could be a single mom or a single dad raising 3 kids alone, or a grandmother raising kids. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that oftentimes is the American family. And I think that's what's so unfortunate about our society today. I think that's one of the root causes of a lot of the instability we have right now. So you're absolutely right to point that out. I'll go back. If you go back, I alluded to this in my op-ed. So in the pre-industrial era, the makeup of family was much, much different. You had a system where, before industrialization, where mothers had to rely on fathers for certain things. Fathers had to rely on mothers, or we could say husbands had to rely on wives. Wives had to rely on husbands. And then children had to rely on the parents for a lot of things. I mean, the household was very much an economy of its own in the pre-industrialized world, right? And but once industrialization came along, a lot of that changed. The family unit was weakened quite a bit. The fathers were outsourced to the workplace. They no longer work near the home. They now go out, and so what that did was create, over long periods of time, that created a separation of what the father feels that's going on in his own household and in his own home, because he's gone most of the time. He's gone at work. Pre-industrialization, we didn't have a lot of that, but now we do. And so that was one fissure where we have fathers that come home to the household and they don't really know what's going on because they haven't been there all day or all week or whatever the case may be. So that's one thing. Another thing I think contributes to it was no-fault divorce. And a lot of people point back to Reagan as his time as the California governor. He was a proponent of no-fault divorce. If I have my facts straight, I think Ronald Reagan might have been the first president we ever had who was divorced. I think that's correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But I revere Ronald Reagan as a whole when I look at his whole body of work. But that is one area that was not good. And he introduced that in California and kind of normalized no-fault divorce. And so now we have normalized these very strange, odd family makeup, and really what I think it comes down to, especially with no-fault divorce, it comes down to a religion of the self, where we worship our autonomy, we worship our self-sovereignty. And that, we could get really deep into political thought here, but that's one reason why I'm not a libertarian politically. Mm-hmm. I'm a Republican. Libertarians believe, you let me be free to do whatever I want. Well, I believe that freedom is not the permission to do whatever you want. It's the power to do what you ought. That's what I believe freedom is. And I think that this religion of self, where it's all about me, it's all about my wants, it's all about what makes me happy, what makes me feel good, rather than supporting the other person in your family, whether it be your spouse or your child, putting your children first, putting your spouse first, or whatever. As a loving husband, I try to put my spouse ahead of me. The Bible tells me that I should give up my life for her, and I would do that very thing. And so a lot of these thoughts, a lot of these traditional thoughts are gone. A lot of these traditions that rely on. I saw somebody say recently, I wish this was original to me, but it's not, but I heard someone say that tradition is simply solutions to problems that we've long forgotten. A lot of people look down on tradition, but and there's some traditions that do need to be broken. We just do them because we've always done them. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times tradition is solutions to problems that we've long forgotten. And I think that the family unit is one of those traditions that we need to get back to. We will become a stronger country in every way, from economics to immigration policy. All of these different types of thoughts, they stem from what kind of family unit a person comes from.
Tex says, how is child care, tax credit, and free school lunches anti-family? Tony is a Christian nationalist who wants women in subordinate roles. By the way, Dave Allen, you're attacking the family unit. Why don't you have kids? I don't think I said anything. I just gave you a forum. Did I say anything to what you said about it? I will say this in my opinion, though. My opinion is that just about every problem we have in society can be traced back to not having some form of accountability at home. I will say that because as far as why I don't have kids, I've been very honest about it. I didn't want kids. My wife and I have been married for 32 years next month, September 19th. See, I remember. And we're what's known as child free. We could have kids, but decided early on in our marriage that we didn't want them. So are people like me and and I'm not being argumentative with you. You and I are good friends. But people like me, are we a problem?
I don't think so at all. I mean, one thing that I want to congratulate you on, and I think is very admirable. You just told all of your listeners you're getting ready to celebrate 32 years of marriage in today's world. That's to be admired, and it's to be congratulated. I mean, that's really a feat.
Well, she deserves a medal. I'll say that.
Well, I agree with that. But no, seriously, I mean, that's a really big deal. I've been married over 20 years myself. And the fact that you don't have kids, look, I don't know what God's plan is for Dave Allen and his wife, but you guys have cut a course for your life, and I think you're believers as far as I know. In fact, I know you are. And so God has a plan for you, and whatever that plan is, all the more power to you. But I know it's in no one's plan to go and kill children or kill babies through abortion. I know that's not God's plan. That shouldn't be anybody's plan. But I want to go back to one thing that texter said. It was something about subjugating women or something. What was the
subordinate? You want women to be subordinate?
Oh, subordinate women. So he brings that up right after I just said I would give my life for my own wife. So this is just foolishness. These people that text in, I guess they just need attention, or they're probably narcissistic and get excited when their text is read on the air. And
again, as I always say, I have no idea who they are. I just read the text. Tony is weird, says the texter. Is it?
Some people say that, yes.
Including your wife. Is it normal to vote for a sex abuser who partied with Jeffrey Epstein? Text says southern border crossings are at a 3-year low. How is this a mess? Text says, does Tony care to explain why it's normal for a white man to question if a black woman is black enough? Reference to Trump. Inflation is 2.9%. The target rate is 2%. Don't let Tony lie to you. Look, I have said this. I don't care what kind of statistics you throw out there. When you go to the store and your price of a loaf of bread, or I was talking about bologna yesterday, is gone. I saw a commercial for something. Told my wife, I said, we haven't bought any bologna in a while. Take away my Logan County card. We haven't bought any bologna. She said, you know how expensive it is now? The person in the White House is going to get blamed for that, right or wrong. Republican, Democrat, they are going to get blamed for that. And prices, I don't care what inflation is. I know I went to Kroger Saturday. I know what the prices are.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. You can throw out statistics. And look, I'm a stats guy. I like data. I like to look at hard data. But the real hard data, the actual evidence that I use when it comes to inflation and how it affects my household is what you just said. When I go to my local grocery store, when I go to my local department store and I see how expensive milk and eggs and just basic needs are, it's completely outrageous. You can throw out your little 1 point, 2 point, 3 point % statistics, but I'm telling you, the percentage that it affects my bank account is what is going to determine my vote. And speaking of broken families, we have all these single women out here who trying to raise their children, the ones that think God didn't abort them, and they're out here raising children alone. They should be the ones that are looking at different solutions when it comes to who to hire to manage their state, manage their country. We need to get away from this left-leaning, inflation increasing political ideology, and these single mothers need to look, okay, we see how things are under conservative rule, and we see how things are under liberal rule. Things are much more expensive for me under liberal rule. Maybe we need to change directions.
Text says, great program this morning with Tony Hodge, speaking common sense in a world that's lost its mind. Thanks, Dave and Tony. Another narrow view of the economy. Highest stock prices in history, lowest unemployment. Learn how to read a stock chart, says a texter. Texas, hey, Dave, does Tony have a take on Patrick Morrissey's past with drug companies and unleashed the opioid crisis and absolutely gutted family units in America?
Well, look, Patrick Morrissey is a stalwart conservative. I mean, look, if you look at his record of what he's done as Attorney General and some of the things especially on social issues with his conservatism, I mean, he's a stalwart. He's strong. You can't push the guy around. I mean, he's a fighter. He's going to fight for West Virginia. He's going to be the next governor of West Virginia, and he's the conservative that we need in this moment. And I look forward to supporting him.
Tex says, this guy lives on the fringe. I know several non-nuclear families that would be great examples to some nuclear families. Interviews such as this do nothing but drive a wedge in our society. There was nothing informative that came out of that interview. He is a hateful individual that's not accepting of others. So basically, it's only okay not to have a nuclear family if you are a dedicated Republican.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm a hateful person. I mean, I don't know who this guy is. Or
woman, we don't know.
Yeah, who this person is. If they really knew me, if they met me in person, they would realize nothing could be further from the truth. And as far as I think the texter alluded that broken families or single families can't be respected or something like that. I can't remember exactly what you said. You'd have to reread it. But anyway, no, what that person's doing is they're taking an exception to the rule and trying to make it normal. Look, I know there's exceptions. There are fantastic single mothers and single fathers out there. I'll tell you a quick, just personal story. My wife, she was raised by a single father, which is an unusual situation. Mm-hmm. She was raised fully by a single father, her and her brother. And, we're so grateful to him and all that he's done for them in their lives. But, it's an unusual situation. And, but he did a really good job with the cards that he was dealt. And so there are exceptions, and we recognize those. But even he would tell you that he wished that his family was intact. Mm-hmm.
Tex says, a vote for Democrats is to assure government regulates business. A vote for Republicans is to assure corporations gives the freedom to break it off in consumers. Tex says the protests of a Democratic convention are healthy, much healthier than Republicans falling in line behind the adulterous child molester Donald Trump. Tex says Tony Hodge lives in a fantasy world where everything is wrong, but if people did things his way, everything would be perfect.
This isn't my way. This is the way of millennia of human history. Only in the last 50 to 60 years have we gotten away from what has been normal in all of written human history. So this isn't my way. All I'm doing is going back to what I would say is very, very normal for humans. We have the history of it, okay? There was a text there, you're talking about the protests. I'm looking up here. You've got the DNC on the screen here in the studio, and there's people out in the street, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic people who are Democrats out there protesting their own party because their own party is not anti-Semitic enough and anti-Israel enough. This is shocking. Israel is the only democracy in that part of the world, that Middle Eastern part of the world. I mean, and we have a party that thinks it's mainstream to be anti-Semitic. I mean,
that's not fair to say all Democrats, though, Tony. I mean,
no. I'm talking about these protesters.
Okay.
These protesters are anti-Semitic, and what I'm saying is they want their party to be more anti-Semitic. It's one reason why the fellow from Pennsylvania was passed over for this crazy guy up in Minnesota who's even crazier. It's because he's not pro-Israel. That's why he's chosen.
All right, let me read one more text, and then we'll let it go. What is better, says the texter, two moms that love their kids, love God, involved in all aspects of their kids, and eat dinner together every night, or a man and woman where the husband abuses the wife, ignores the kids, and is an alcoholic, but are still a family?
Well, of course you don't want a husband that abuses the kids that's an alcoholic, but it's logically impossible to have two mothers to a child. So neither situation is ideal. They're actually both wrong. That's the answer. And I will say that anytime you have two mothers raising children, you are absolutely depriving that child of their right to have a father. And if you have two fathers raising children, those two fathers are doing wrong by those young people because they're depriving those young people of their God-given right to have a mother. This is wrong. All of these scenarios, they're not right. They're not normal. Biologically speaking, scientifically speaking, they're just not normal. This isn't the right way to go. If I'm the only one that comes in here on WCHS radio and says it, I'll do it till the day I'll die. It's something, speaking truth and speaking truth to power is something I think is important, and I'm here for it.
Tony, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate
I'm going to have to get a new computer. This one's got smoke coming out of it.
I can see it. I thought I saw steam coming off of it.
We got to leave it there. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues, allergies, respiratory problems, and more. Pinnacle offers specialized indoor air quality services for residential, commercial, and industrial-type settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can hurt you. Back after this, we're going to switch gears and maybe try to get through some of these texts, but I'm going to talk to Ric Cavender, who we're going to talk about October West. I know it's August, but we're planning for October West. Ric Cavender from Charleston Urban Works is coming up next. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Are you changing jobs or gearing up for retirement? Don't navigate your financial journey alone. At 4th Avenue Financial, we specialize in guiding individuals through life's transitions. From optimizing your retirement savings to managing your investments, we're here to provide expert advice every step of the way. Schedule your free consultation with John Burdett and take control of your financial future today. 4thavenuefinancial.com.
Securities offered through Jenny B. Cole Financial Incorporated. Member FINRA. Advisory services offered through Jenny B. Cole Advisors Incorporated.
Bigley Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street has served 3 generations of shoppers since 1955 as the largest locally owned independent grocery store in the area. The Joseph family owners grew up here, so you know they're invested in the community. They provide the biggest variety of choice meats, the freshest produce, an in-house deli bakery, great wine selection, and more of your favorite brands. Every purchase gives you gasoline points so you can save at our pumps. Order online for pickup at BigleyPigglyWiggly.com. Bigley Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. No one beats the pig.
August is the time to save on your Kanawha personal property taxes. Pay on or by September 3rd to receive your first half discount. You can pay by credit, debit card online at kanawhasheriff.us, pay by mail, and at the tax division lobby at the courthouse or one of our 5 detachment locations. Pay your motor vehicle taxes on time to receive the West Virginia Property Tax Adjustment Credit. Visit us online and click on Pay Taxes to learn more.
Red, white, and vroom! Gear up for incredible savings at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and right now at Thornhill, you can drive home a new 2024 Ford Escape with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months. Plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Shop online anytime at thornhillford.net or visit us on US 119 in Chapmanville. Discover why Thornhill Ford Lincoln is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals and exceptional service on the road to total savings. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
It is 14, make that 16 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy tackles pressing health issues, heart disease, diabetes, and more. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs for preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians, aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles and beyond the state. A valuable resource for all. Check out the latest podcast episodes at WVMetronews.com and start your journey towards better health today. Hollywood Jeff Petty is our producer today. Text says, angry about the fact that nuclear family is the core of neighborhoods. Take notice about everything. People only get angry when there's truth in what is being said, and they just don't want to hear it. Text says, border crossings are down. Try again. Texter with some stats here. Text says, as a former Democrat, I agree with Tony. This is the kind of stuff like being texted in and the constant nastiness and slurring, the constant insulting fellow citizens, labels such as Nazis, racists, homophobes, transphobes, xenophobes, fascists, that made me and others finally leave the Democrat Party. Enough. Stop putting people in groups. Get to know individuals. I know this guy, Ric Cavender, Charleston Urban Works, man.
How you been?
How are you?
I'm doing really well. Yeah,
ready to talk about October West.
Shifting gears here. Let's talk about something happy. October West, right?
All right. So why are we already talking about October West?
Listen, tickets just went on sale last week. This is the 15th year that we have produced October West. It's one of the largest beer, music, and food festivals in the state of West Virginia. We bring people from, over the last 15 years, we've brought people from 16 different states to attend this event. That means those are heads in beds and hotel rooms. That's people spending money within the business districts after they leave our event, and we get to open eyes to the city of Charleston. So for those reasons, among many others, we're just really excited that tickets are finally on sale. They went on sale last week. You can go to charlestonurbanworks.org to get all the information about it. We'll be making announcements over the course of the next couple of weeks of all the details.
And for those who have never been, what exactly goes on at this?
Oktoberfest is a sort of a German-themed, like Oktoberfest, right? A German-themed craft beer, music, and food festival. Happens right in the heart of the Elk City district of the West Side. So we're talking from Pennsylvania Avenue all the way down to Indiana Avenue, that stretch of Washington Street West. We have several businesses in the Elk City district who participate. They keep their doors open to participate throughout the event. This year, the big changes, we've shifted the hours. It's 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. From 3 to 4, very similar to what we did for Fun with the Dome. From 3 to 4, we're having a VIP hour. We'll have a VIP beer booth set up exclusive to folks who buy that VIP ticket. Those are available now. They'll get a special wristband. They get access to that booth throughout the entire event and 1 hour extra to enjoy the event.
Where are we on sponsors? Are you needed sponsors?
We are always looking for new sponsors.
Always.
We are always looking for new sponsors. We are a nonprofit organization. Every dollar raised for Oktoberfest goes right back into our mission of community and economic development in the urban space of Charleston, the West Side and the East End primarily. And of course, we're always looking for new sponsors. You can reach out to me at Ric, R-I-C, at charlestonurbanworks.org if you're interested in sponsoring the event. We have wonderful sponsors. Encova Insurance is the title sponsor again this year. City National Bank is the stage sponsor. Old Colony Realtors is the Oktoberfest Games sponsor, which we do a whole litany of games throughout the event. There's sausage tossing, keg rolling, best German dress. Excuse me. We're adding a couple more games this year too. So
and we're going to be a big part of it. I understand our stations will be a big part of it.
Yeah, just like with Fun with the Dome. I got to tell you, Dave, we had the most incredible experience working with you all. All the 5 major stations of Western Your Radio really came through and did an incredible job of promoting Fun with the Dome throughout the course of the promotional period of the event. You guys were there on site, on stage. All the great personalities from all the stations were on the stage.
All the great personalities and me.
The 4 guys and you, yes. But yeah, no, I mean, and we're hoping to continue that partnership. It's been wonderful. We can't thank you all enough for that. So I'll definitely be hearing a lot from me, unfortunately from me, for the next month.
The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Jute, J-O-O-T, for the best in security systems for both your home or business. Talk to Jute of Tays Valley. Visit protectedbyjute.com. What else is going on with Charleston Urban Works these days?
Well, I came on a couple weeks, or about a month or so, maybe 2 months ago, to talk about our small business surveys. We have started. We're releasing those surveys finally. We're starting with the Elk City district of the West Side. We're going to do some surveys for all the business owners there to collect some really important data from them. We'll then go over to the East End and start our work there. We're going to take that information and report it at our Urbanite Awards, which is this November, which also is our annual meeting, and that will really shape our work plans as far as the projects we're going to undertake over the next 3 years. So we're in the middle of that right now. We also just launched our Charleston Urban Works Passport Card. I think I might have come on here and talk about that. That's powered through Element Federal Credit Union. So we have a buy local program. If you sign up as a member at Element Federal Credit Union, and you get a passport card, you open an account with them. Every time you swipe that card throughout the East End, the West Side, and downtown business districts, and the full business listing is on our website, you get 2% cash back. So that is a really great shop local initiative that we just launched about a month ago, and it's growing every day. More people are signing up every single day. So we definitely encourage you to go to our website, charlestonurbanworks.org, to learn more about that. And then, of course, Oktoberfest, which will be on September 28th.
All right, and tickets are on sale. Where can tickets be purchased now?
charlestonurbanworks.org. You can also go to the Facebook page, which is just Oktoberfest 2024. It's an event page, and we'll be releasing all the detailed information, like I said, over the next few weeks of the entertainment lineup, the beer lineup, the food lineup. That'll all be available on the Facebook page and the website.
And I'll have you on plenty of times between now and then. Rick, as always, man, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Always a pleasure to be here, Dave. I appreciate you.
10 minutes away from 10, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by Brightway Insurance, a Mays agency. They now offer small business insurance to the 4 major carriers, the Hartford, Travelers, Progressive, and Next. Call or stop by, see John and Sherry today, 3860 Tays Valley Road, Suite 1 in Hurricane, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymays.com. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Your Putnam County Assessor's Office is mandated to ensure your real estate is evaluated properly and fairly. This year, their field personnel will be in the Taze Valley, Curry, and Hurricane districts to revisit homeowners. Plus, new construction in the county will be assessed. They will be in marked vehicles and will have photo ID and business cards. If you have any questions about this process, visit their website at PutnamCOAssessor.com. That's PutnamCOAssessor.com.
Red, white, and vroom! Gear up for incredible savings at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Hey, it's Sydney, and right now at Thornhill, you can drive home a new 2024 Ford Escape with 2.9% APR for up to 72 months, plus a $1,000 trade assist rebate. Shop online anytime at thornhillford.net or visit us on US 119 in Chapmanville. Discover why Thornhill Ford Lincoln is your ultimate destination for unbeatable deals and exceptional service on the road to total savings. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for all details.
8 away from 10. Bigley, Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Text says, going back to the Tony Hodge interview, Tony needs to be careful talking about all of history. Many cultures did not have nuclear families throughout history, says a texter. Texter says, Tony, because I think you're a clown and your ideas are just as dumb doesn't mean I hate the idea of a family. It's just you and your ideas are narrow. Text says, Tony wants to take women back to the days when they couldn't work, had to be dependent on a man, and had to be barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Text says, Dave, is there an application that I can fill out so I can come on the airwaves and talk out of my blank for about half an hour? That's my job. That's my job. Text says, Tony, the Republicans court white nationalists who fly swastikas. Get out of here, you dope, says a texter. Let's see. I've got so many texts here. I'm doing the best I can. Wow. Okay. Texas Dave, it's the Republicans who've been in favor of sterilizing women to keep them from having more babies that place a drain on public funds. Leave it to Talking Points to Tony to start off the week weird as usual. Text says Republicans' crocodile tears over Joe Biden being forced out are pathetic and sad. Text says Tony needs to go back and watch a few episodes of One Day at a Time and Kate and Allie because that's how many of us grew up in the 70s and 80s. All families are important in America. We live life the best we can with the families we have, not the ones we always want. And like I've said, I come from a broken family. My parents divorced when I was 5. I was literally the only kid in the class whose parents were divorced. And that was in 1975. So now it'd probably be the opposite. If you had, the parents that were actually still married, they probably would not be the norm anymore. Texas, Tony, this world's population in 1900s was 1.6 billion. We're at 8 billion. I think your nuclear families were blowing things up in the bedroom in the 20th century. Okay, all right. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, train for little or no cost. 50-50 salary match. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Hoppy coming up with Talkline at 10:06. First up this morning, Chris Steyerwalt, host of The Hill, Sunday on News Nation. Chris, of course, at the DNC. He'll report live from there, as will State Democratic Party Chair and Delegate Mike Pushkin, both on Hoppy today. Jonathan Savage from Fox News Radio is on to talk about the latest tension between Iran and Israel. That's Hoppy coming up at 10:06. Speaking of the DNC, we're going to devote coverage here on WCHS of the Democratic Convention live from Chicago tonight. We'll have coverage following Reds baseball. And one other note about the DNC, in addition to Pushkin, several other locals are there, including former delegate Amanda Estep Burton. She will join us on the show tomorrow, live from Chicago. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Off tonight for the Birds they are. They begin a road series at Southern Maryland tomorrow night. Tickets, schedules, promotions, Dirty Birds gear, and more. Visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Charleston City Council scheduled to meet tonight. They are expected again to take up a bill that would change the penalties for simple possession of marijuana. We're talking 15 grams or less. Now, some folks trying to get a change in the regulations for the city had a petition going around, but according to city officials, including city attorney Kevin Baker, the 1,857 signatures were not enough. The original bill, sponsored by Councilman Chad Robinson and Frank Anney, was discussed in the council meeting in July 17th. It later went to the Ordinance and Rules Committee. Now, this is designed to do a number of things, including the city pretty much going along with what the state code says as it relates to possession. It would remove some of what the city and law enforcement says are simply conflicting and confusing language. It also would remove jail time for simple possession. The first offense would not come with a fine. There are several other aspects to this. Again, it will be discussed at the council meeting tonight. We will be monitoring the meeting, of course, and have stories posted about it on the website as well as on air. And I have Councilman Chad Robinson scheduled to be on the show tomorrow. Talked with him earlier this morning. He's hoping something will get done at the council meeting tonight, and Councilman Robinson will join us on the show tomorrow. Text says, Dave, great program. Tony's strong and loves his state and country by speaking the truth. Thanks, Tony Hodge, for speaking for the vast majority of West Virginians. Just curious, are non-nuclear families welcome to this event? that was it's a nod to October West. Rick unfortunately had to leave us. He had some prior appointments, but I'd say just about anybody's probably invited. Text says, Tony Hodge was right on the spot. Neighbor has had 6 non-working fathers in 8 years, and Methodist Episcopal Church supports it, says a texter. Text says, Jesus was such a fan of marriage. Text says, is it weird to open a political rally with the national anthem sung by January 6 criminals and call them political prisoners? I'm going to close with some national news here. Of course, the big story, the DNC. President Biden expected to speak tonight. As I said, there are protests already going on in Chicago. And I was doing some reading over the weekend, and there was some polling that was released. And if you are former President Donald Trump, as of now, plenty of time, it could be a little bit troubling. A new poll out from ABC News, The Washington Post, and ISPA says Vice President Kamala Harris is now leading former President Trump 50% to 45%. And what's interesting here, the independent vote, which I think is going to decide this election. In July, when it was Trump v. Biden, Trump was leading independent voters over Biden by 4 points. Now, Kamala Harris, according to the poll, is leading Trump among independents by 11 points. Another interesting note here is that among voters ages 18 to 39, Kamala Harris leading Trump 57 to 37%. All right. We got to go. Thank you so much to Tony Hodge. Sorry I didn't get to all the texts. That's the way it is when you have people like Tony Hodge or Mike Pushkin or Greg Thomas on the show. You just don't get to all the text. But my thanks to all of those that did text in. My producer was Hollywood Jeff Petty. Thank you so much. Again, Chad Robinson from City Council will join us on the show tomorrow, as well as Amanda Eastep-Burden live from Chicago at the DNC. Hoppy coming up with Talkline at 10:06. Download the all-new Metro News TV app and the WVRC Media app. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.